Here's an interesting question. How many votes did Kanye West get for president? Now, he wasn't messing around. He went on Joe Rogan to talk about his candidacy, his campaign for president. There were many, many news articles about it early on when he came up with the idea originally. He got COVID, dragged his feet, didn't get on the ballot in a lot of states. I think he may have been on in a handful, but he didn't get on the ballot in the overwhelming majority of states. And so he kind of tweaked his campaign and said, you know what, I'm going to make it a write-in campaign. And so by the time he went on Rogan, that's what he was pushing for, write me in for president. And he's already talking about 2024. He's already saying, yeah, I'm probably going to run in 2024. So how did his campaign go this time? Well, he got, at least, to be fair, this came out, I believe, 2 or 3 days after the election. So nowhere near done counting all the votes. So this actually is not the final number. But at least on day 2 or day 3, when a lot of the votes had been counted, where most of the overwhelming majority of the votes had been counted, he won 60,000 votes. 60,000 votes. Kanye, that's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. I tweeted this the other night, and some people thought I was being incredibly arrogant, which is half true. But if I had launched a write-in campaign, I could have gotten more than 60,000 votes. 60,000? That's it. 60,000. 60,000. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. In fact, I'll give you some more information on this. The third-party votes. I said in the 2020 election, the Green Party got 350,000 votes. The Libertarians got 1.7 million. Now, overall, that's a tick down because in 2016, the Greens got 1.4 million. That was Jill Stein. And the Libertarians got 4.4 million. That was Gary Johnson. So it went down. You had Joe Jorgensen for the Libertarians and Howie Hawkins. This time around, their vote count went down massively. Again, 350,000 for the Greens, 1.7 million for the Libertarians in 2020. But they still absolutely draxed Kanye West. With no celebrity power, no media coverage at all, no hype about the initial launching of their campaigns. They beat Kanye West, which is kind of hilarious. Now, by the way, I wouldn't be able to get through this segment without telling you guys about the funny thing I realized the other night. So Vermont releases all of the write-in candidate. Well, they're not candidates. Vermont releases all of the people that were written in by their voters. There you go. That's the best way to phrase it. And so you see everybody, if somebody votes for Scooby-Doo, somebody votes for George W. Bush, they release all of them. And so the number one write-in, of course, was Bernie Sanders. I believe Tulsi Gabbard was up there too. But by the way, the numbers are incredibly tiny. I forget how many for Bernie. It was under 1,000 write-in votes for Bernie. Same thing. I think it might have been 100 or so for Tulsi, something along those lines. But I had a good time. I was reading through it because I'm like, let me see how creative people get. And as I'm reading through it, I found my name. So shout out to the person in Vermont who wrote me in for president. I appreciate you very much. They spelled my name wrong, though, which makes it even more hilarious. And actually, I don't know if it was the voter who spelled my name wrong, because that seems ridiculous. If you know me enough and like me enough to to write me in for president, you're going to spell my name right. So that leads me to believe that, whoever is responsible or whatever machine is responsible for, reading the writing didn't get it right. And so the way they spelled my name was Kule, Cool Kulinski. It's kind of not a bad nickname at all. Cool Kulinski. So Shout out to the person in Vermont who wrote me in. I got a grand total of 1 vote in Vermont. I would love it if all the states released their write-ins so I could see how many votes I got across the country. I wish we would know. We're never going to know because they don't all release the write-in names. But if we did, I would place the over-under at 100. Did I get more or less than 100 votes around the country? It would be interesting to find out. I'm almost wishing I did a write-in campaign just to see if I actually would have beaten Kanye. If I launched a write-in campaign, I think I would have beaten 60,000 votes. I do. 60,000 is really not that much at all. I mean, that's really... And if I was serious about it and I pushed it a lot, I could get over 100,000. Man, Kanye, you're so sad. Because the thing that's so annoying about it is that it's not about policy at all with him. Like, there's nothing. He doesn't actually want to do anything in terms of the direction of the country policy-wise. It's me. And it's like he saw how Trump was able to get elected just coasting off of sheer narcissism. And so he's like, I got more narcissism than anybody I've ever met. So it's going to be me. I'll do the same thing. And, this is the result. The result is there's got to be something that connects. Like, it wasn't, yes, Trump made it off narcissism, but he also kind of had a decent instinct for reading the room. And he did have some, half-baked political philosophy, somewhat like paleo-conservative, so he did tap into something real. It was different, especially because the establishment Republicans were so hopeless. Kanye is just a lost soul. That's what it strikes me as. And I do actually feel bad for him from time to time because it does seem like he needs help and he's not getting it. And if anything, his delusions are being fed repeatedly. Well, now, I wonder how he feels about this. My guess is he's gone into some defensive, protect the ego mode where he'll try to explain it away and not make himself feel like shit, but I kind of wish he has a moment where he reflects on this and he's like, wow, I'm embarrassing. But I don't know if that's going to come because that doesn't strike me as in his character. But anyway, there you have it. Kanye West got obliterated. Let's see if he runs in 2024, which he says he will, so he probably will. I wonder if he'll be smart enough to just hop in as a Republican or a Democrat. Third-party people, I love you, but let's not pretend like, even if I grant you, okay, this is a project we should be exploring, you have to admit that it's a multi-decade project before you're even remotely viable. You know what I mean? So, since that's the fact, if you're going to run now, you'd be insane not to run as a Democrat or a Republican. It would be literally insane because you're just not going to win. You're just wasting your time unless you literally go into it saying, I'm a messaging candidate, right? So let's see if he's smart enough to hop in as a Democrat or a Republican. Knowing him, he'll do some weird shit, like he'll try to revive the Whig Party or something, or the Bull Moose Party, and he'll be like, I'm running as a Bull Moose because I'm a genius. And a lot of people around him will be like, that is pretty genius. I have to hand it to him.